I'm 68 years old, and this isn't advice. This isn't motivation. This is something I understood late, after most of my life was already behind me. I didn't lose people because I was cruel. I didn't lose them because I didn't care. I lost them because I was distracted, busily focused elsewhere, always convinced that what I was doing mattered more than what I was missing. And the dangerous thing about distraction is that it feels harmless. It doesn't hurt immediately. It doesn't look like a mistake, but little by little, it takes pieces of your life away, until one day you look around and realize something important is gone and you don't even remember when it started. For most of my life, my days looked exactly the same. Leave before sunrise, come back after dark, repeat the next morning. I told myself this was responsibility, that this routine meant I was doing the right thing, that showing up for work was the same as showing up for life. I measured my days by productivity, by hours worked, by how tired I felt at night, and as long as I was exhausted, I believed I was doing enough. What I didn't notice was that the days were passing, anyway, quietly, indifferently, and nothing about my schedule was asking me if this was how I actually wanted to live. I missed moments without realizing they were moments, conversations that never happened, meals that went cold on tables I wasn't sitting at. I kept assuming presence could be postponed, that attention could wait, that there would always be another chance to be there properly. I told myself, tomorrow, next week, when things slow down. But time doesn't slow down just because you ask it to, and moments don't wait until you're ready. They happen once, and then they're gone. And if you weren't there, they don't come back to remind you. I genuinely believed effort could replace attention, that working harder could compensate for absence, that providing was the same as being present. So whenever I felt the distance growing, I worked more, stayed later, pushed harder. I thought I was fixing the problem, but effort doesn't replace attention, money doesn't replace presence, and responsibility doesn't replace connection. All it does is delay the realization that something essential is quietly breaking, while you convince yourself everything is under control. One day, something shifted. There was no argument, no confrontation, no dramatic moment to point to, just a distance that stopped being questioned. That's how it usually happens, not with explosions, but with silence becoming normal. When no one complains anymore, when no one asks anymore, when expectations quietly disappear, and by the time you notice the distance, it's already learned how to live there. Silence is deceptive. You think it means peace. You think it means things are calm, but silence is often erosion. Slow, unnoticed, relentless. It wears things down without noise, without warning. You don't hear it growing. You don't see it arriving. And one day you realize that what you thought was stability was actually connection slowly dissolving because no one was paying attention anymore. Time passed anyway. It always does. And eventually, she left. Not angrily, not dramatically. Just moved on. I told myself we would reconnect later. That distance was temporary. That things would make sense again once life calmed down. But life doesn't calm down on its own. It just keeps moving forward. And later is a place people often promise themselves but rarely arrive at together. My body stopped me before my mind ever did. Bright hospital lights, alarms, strangers speaking in urgent tones. Suddenly, control was gone. Schedules didn't matter. Deadlines didn't matter. Lying there, unable to move, I had nothing left to distract myself with. No noise, no work, no excuses, just the weight of realizing how much of my life I had postponed for a version of the future that never asked for it. She visited once, calm, polite, careful with her words. It felt like someone visiting a memory instead of a relationship. No anger, no accusations, and somehow that hurt more than if there had been. Because anger means something still wants to be fixed. Politeness means the distance has already settled in. And lying there, I understood something painful. I wasn't facing a sudden loss. I was facing the result of years of absence. That moment hurt more than the diagnosis, more than the machines, more than the fear of dying, because this wasn't sudden. It wasn't tragic in one instant. It was accumulated absence, missed attention, delayed presence. Loss doesn't always arrive violently. Sometimes it arrives quietly, after you've ignored it for years because nothing ever screamed loudly enough. I'm trying now, carefully, slowly, listening more than speaking, expecting less than I want, understanding that some distances don't fully close. No matter how sincere your intentions become later, you don't rebuild everything. Sometimes, you only learn how to respect what remains. And that lesson comes with a humility you don't develop until time has already taken its share. If you're busy right now, I understand. I was too. Just don't confuse movement with meaning. Don't confuse exhaustion with importance. One day, the people you love will stop waiting, not out of anger, out of adaptation. And you won't remember the exact moment it began, only the moment you finally noticed. Pay attention now, because silence doesn't announce itself, and later rarely comes back to explain what it took.